All right, we are back live here at the Forrester B2B Summit on the marketplace floor next to the Big Boot. My name is Matt Hines. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Sales Pipeline Radio. We have been having so much fun down here the last couple of days talking to analysts, talking to B2B ROI award winners, talking to some of the leading CMOs in marketing who stop by and to share what they're working on today. Very excited to have with us for this section John Booten. He's the principal analyst in portfolio marketing at Forrester Research. I really hope I said your last name right because I forgot to ask you about that. How'd I do?
Not too bad.
Okay, how do we?
Yeah.
Booten? Okay.
No, with a U. Buten.
Buten. Got
There you
it.
go.
All right. It's really important that I get names right. Okay, John Booten, principal analyst at Forrester Research. So many directions we can go given the work you've done at Forrester, but I know right now that you're excited, you just mentioned, and congratulations on your new report out on the visibility vacuum and this idea of zero-click buying. Brand new world for a lot of marketers that not only are having to learn new channels, but also having to sort of admit finally that the buyer's in charge and doing a lot of their own work, and that we can do a lot of work around building buying journeys and creating great content, but the buyer has always been in charge and increasingly is doing it without us around, which I think in some people is terrifying, for other people is quite encouraging and empowering. So just would love to have you just kind of, given what you've seen in this space, really at the forefront of this. What are you seeing, and what should people be aware of?
Yeah, I think it was Mike Tyson who said sometimes it's helpful to get a punch in the face.
Yeah, something like that.
It's been interesting. Also, this is kind of the culmination of a 2-year journey when we first saw buyers adopting these AI tools much faster than we expected, and so we were concerned to make sure we were ringing the alarms appropriately.
Yeah.
And people started seeing traffic decline, and it was hitting the SEO team, the digital team first. And it's really been a wake-up call to companies to start thinking, I think that's a great perspective, about how buyer self-service has really changed. And we need to change our mental model of how we think about the marketing process, rather than we're in control and we're bringing people through, we're pushing them through a funnel, and realize that they're the ones that are on the journey and we're there to try to support them.
Well, and you've said that traffic isn't the real problem, visibility is. So break down the difference between those two things and why that's an important distinction for sales and marketing teams.
Yeah, because the traffic is declining pretty dramatically. We actually just announced our prediction that it's going to decline 50 to 75% over the next 12 to 18 months. And that's across all B2B. That's the content sites as well as the provider sites. So some people are going to experience that differently. The activity among the buyers is not declining. They're just doing this activity in a different place. It's not like buyers have stopped trying to buy products and solve problems.
Yeah.
So they're doing it. They're just doing it out there in the answer engines.
Yeah.
The challenge then becomes, if they're continuing to do all this activity and we can't see any of it, that makes it really hard for us as marketers to know what to do. How do we change perception? Well, changing perception starts with, what are they perceiving? What are they reading? What do they have access to? And there's not great tools yet.
Yeah.
So that visibility is, I think, the bigger problem to solve in order to help us get good at marketing again.
It fundamentally changes the way we think about pipeline, right? I mean, so this phrase you coined around the visibility vacuum, we are used to, as go-to-market, professionals, practitioners, being able to send the drip campaigns and knowing what they clicked on and feel like we know they came to this webinar, we know what they're looking at and all these intent signals. Like, some of those are going to become quite opaque, if not invisible, to us moving forward. So what are some of the practical consequences to how people should be managing their pipelines now?
Well, we'll maybe step back a little bit to think about what we're trying to do rather than the techniques and the tools we've used to do them. So some of the performance marketing crutches that we've used that have really come out in the past 10 years, where we're using inbound marketing to get people in, get them cookied so that we can follow them through and keep pestering them.
That's right.
That's changing. You saw that HubSpot renamed their conference. It's no longer inbound because that's disappearing. At the same time, the buyers are still engaging. They're just engaging less with us directly. So we're going to see a thinner amount of signals, but still try to respond to them and still be ready for them
Yep.
in those different channels. So it might not be getting them to our website to do information activities. They'll do that in the answer engine. But then they're still going to have all of these different touch points.
Yep.
They're still going to want to talk with us. They're still going to want to get a demo. And so our website will change from this lead and pipeline process
Yep.
to one that's much more about this confirmation and trust building.
Mm-hmm.
So experiential things,
Yeah.
like doing demos and learning from experts and getting trust around, are you the right one to help guide us through this process?
I feel like one of the final nails in the coffin of the gate or ungate, the debate is the fact that we're building landing pages for AI agents now. That a lot of landing pages are not going to be populated moving forward, or not going to be viewed by people as much as they are agents that are informing and recommending back to prospects. And that's a big change in and of itself. You look across this show floor here, for the last several years, like tons of sales enablement vendors. And I see so many now that are really just pivoting to describing themselves as buyer enablement sort of players. And you could, on one hand, I could be pessimistic and say, well, it's just lipstick on a pig. I'm still trying to control the process. But if you're authentic about that, ideally that reduces the friction between you and the buyer, right? You're no longer shoehorning someone into your sales process. You're respecting their buying process and building trust and respect and credibility along the way, which should be giving you an advantage.
Well, the buyers are going to then want to get more. So we had a fun conversation yesterday, a roundtable with people on this topic. And it was interesting that there were people that from an SEO background and digital and content. And we went around and said, like, who's team gate and who's team ungate? And the digital teams all said, we used to be team gate, but we're on the ungate side now. Because we have to welcome people in. But once they get there, if we can create the right opportunities to have a conversation or come to a webinar with the person who has authored that ungated content that they read about, they're going to come through when they're ready. So creating those opportunities to really create experiences will be satisfying to these buyers. So it changes how you're engaging, when you're engaging, and but not the engagement itself.
We're talking on this special episode of Sales Pipeline Radio live from the Forrester B2B Summit floor with John Butin. He's the principal analyst. Forrester Research done a ton of writing on zero-click, on his new concept around the visibility vacuum. And you have written, John, about the fact that AI agents will eventually make buying decisions autonomously. I think that is scary to sellers. I also find it scary to buyers, depending on sort of what they're talking about. Like, these are large, considered high-trust purchases that our lizard brains are used to having more control over. Do you hear any of that sort of fear on the buying side, even as that may be an advantage to buyers long term?
I'm maybe in the middle on whether autonomous buying is really something we should worry terribly much about, especially in high engagement purchases. We are going to see it in repeat purchases, in procurement environments, and people are seeing that already now. Some of the procurement tool sets are creating those agents to be able to do some of the functions around buying, monitor pricing, monitor terms, make sure that there's compliance or monitoring strategic sourcing. So that's going to increase. But when we get to consequential change management, when we get to the purchase process for these high involvement purchases still involve 13 different people in the buying group. And so to do that, you can't delegate to an agent. You could have agents involved in really significant ways that are going to be new and innovative, like summarizing what is the dialogue across these 13, what's the consensus. So some of taking the politics out of it even, and maybe even helping buyers make better decisions.
I think I think you're absolutely right. I think that's in our future. I think it's really hard for us to see clearly what that's going to look like because it's something new that we haven't done. And anything that we can't see clearly, just like things we can't control, makes us nervous. But I'm continually impressed, like, at how, again, our lizard brains are good at normalizing new things and seeing them for what they are. And, you know, even things that have sort of mixed good and bad implications, we start to see as normal. And especially for something like this, if it makes your job easier, if it helps you make better decisions, makes you confident, faster decisions. There's many of those words that benefit the seller too, right?
Yep.
Like more confident, faster decisions. What I hear there is faster sales cycle times. Like that could benefit me instead of being something I need to worry about.
Perhaps getting the buying group on the same page more easily, getting information across that team much faster. So taking away some of the friction on the buying side. And then also, it's going to remove some of the gamesmanship that we see on the selling side, where we have to do these clickbaity things in order to get people in and win that battle, to have the earnest conversation. Everybody's talking about how can I create authentic content once that works both for the models and for the humans after they come through.
So before your time as a researcher, before your time at Forrester, you spent 20 years in-house. Basically you had the job of the people that you're now consulting and advising now. What are the things, when you talk to CMOs in this space, what are the things that sound familiar from your time in the seat, and what are the things that have changed that are different that they have to grapple with?
That's an interesting question. I think the balancing the brand and demand is something that's consistent throughout, that we want to, and the CMOs especially, understand the value of brand. They have hard time in a B2B context making sure that the whole company, that the executive team understands that, when the person who is most engaged with the marketing team is the sales team and or the product team, and they want to see revenue. So understanding how you can use brand to help feed into the revenue cycle is really important. And I think that is potentially an opportunity for ZeroClick because it takes away some of the technical elements of driving demand and makes them much more soft and content oriented around building trust.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It's there's going to be a lot of change for sure. I think one thing that I take out of this, and from your research and from others here just over the last couple of days, is this is in the future, but not too far. And there's a lot of this that you've made the argument is present tense already. This is already changing buyer behavior. And if you're not on this already and making some of these pivots in your go-to-market motion, as well as how you are enabling buyers and leaning into the trust building that is done when you let them operate the way they're operating today and moving forward, big opportunity. John, thanks again so much for joining us. I know you're busy. We'll let you go.
My pleasure.
All right.
It's great. Thanks for
being here. Absolutely. We'll see you all next. We've got several more great guests coming up on Sales Pipeline Radio here. Stay tuned.